Season opener, guys, was against Team Liquid. A little less than a week ago. We won. It was a nail-biter. We were actually in trouble. BASILISK was down 0-3, but we turned it around. Yona was our champ, and Yona is the one who's going to kick things off for us today. As we take on the RotterdaM Heroes for the second time. Let's do it. Oceanborn is going to be the very first map between Firefly, the man that was part of the SSLT last season, now representing the RotterdaM Heroes. He's a Chinese Protoss player, legitimately very good. But in the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of the man who also qualifies as very good. And that may be an understatement when we talk about his greatness. The great Iona Sotala, Serral for BASILISK. Korea versus the world will continue on Monday. Currently, Korea is leading 2-1. Serral defeated Cure 3-2. Solar defeated Serral 3-2. And then Solar also defeated Australia 3-0. Considering Serral's EVP, anything but a 2-0 would be disappointing, question mark. Yes, I think that is fair to say, mate. That is fair to say. Also considering the fact that Serral has only ever dropped one map in the regular season of WTL Code S. And that was a 1-1 versus Scarlet last year. Besides that, all that Serral ever did was win. The man is suffering from success. So yeah, I think you can say anything but a 2-0 would be a little bit disappointing. But that's not because Firefly isn't good, because I legitimately get very excited every single time I get to see this young man play. I think he's an amazing Protoss player. But Serral is Serral. It is difficult for Team World now. Yeah, we'll continue that journey on Monday. That's going to be fun. I still believe in Claymore and Max Packs. We can get some stuff done. Oliveira as well. Bit of a question mark at the moment, but I'm sure that he's going to be good. So I don't think it's over yet. But obviously not having Reynor and Serral being down does mean it's going to be hard for the world. Haven't really seen that much yet of Serral when it comes to ZVP in Dispatch. I guess Serral did play against Mana last week in the WTL Code S. That game on Neo Humanity was quite something. Firefly here with 2 adapts, guys, in the natural. Great block by Serral. Serral can make all of these little things look so easy. I think a lesser Zerg would have already lost 4 drones by now. That was good adapt movement by Firefly. It's just even better defense by Serral. Firefly really does not want to go home without a drone. And he's like, come on, man, just give me a drone. But Serral, okay, finally, Firefly gets one. I'm almost happy that he got a drone there, guys, because I was starting to feel sad for him. That was really good by Serral, because that could have gone so much worse. Obviously, if you lose 2 adapts that quickly, it can be a little bit harder as a Protoss to secure your 3rd base. And that's why Firefly is forced to send his Oracle home. Activates Pulsar Beam as well, even though the Link's already turned around. Serral is doing all the little things correctly so far, very early into this ZVP. Hello, YBC. How are you doing, mate? How's the new patch treating you? You popping off yet? Are you ready to make an appearance in the big brain bouts? Double Oracle shows up, activates Pulsar Beam, and very quickly we see Firefly get a queen. Firefly gets a 2nd queen. Very good stuff here, guys, by the Chinese Protoss. Sure, he took a lot of damage on these Oracles, but getting 2 queens against Serral is almost an accomplishment. I don't know if WTL gives out any bonus points for that, but there aren't too many Protoss players who get 2 queens like that. Firefly is now sending 4 adepts, obviously without resonating glaives, to the other side of the map. At home, Firefly is just macroing, building probes, warping in a forge, warping in a robo. He's gonna let the Shade finish up, and he will not just find a couple of Zerglings here, but also a decent amount of drones. Gets 2. I would like to see him go for more drones. I would cancel the Shade, to be honest, and go for the drones here. Instead, he shades on the high ground in the main base and kills 2 drones from the high ground. Guys, getting 5 drones and 2 queens from Serral. Actually 6 drones already and a bunch of links. This is really good by Firefly. I'm not saying that he's winning the game, because obviously he's losing a decent amount of units as well, but I have seen plenty of Protoss players do a whole lot worse and get a whole lot less. Same bully, that's the first time I see it. Adapts on the high ground of the main, getting in range of drones that are in the natural. Impressive stuff from the man that has joined the Platinum Heroes. Oracle in the natural, by the way. Ooh. Serral was paying attention. Even if the observer is missing it, Serral's not missing it. Ling showing up right before the battery is online, but in the end, Firefly will be fine. Activates overcharge immediately, keeps the probe safe. Got a Roach Warren and a very quick infestation pit at the same time coming down for Yona. Oracles are killing drones. Observer, please. Observer! I don't know if an Oracle died, guys. Maybe one Oracle died. Can we take a look at that, mate? Please? No. No Oracle died. Because he opened up a triple Oracle and he still has all 3 Oracles. Very impressed by what the Chinese Protoss is showing us here in the first 7 minutes. Gotta give credit where credit is due. The only thing I don't get is that I don't see anything being researched on the Twilight Council. Doesn't mean we don't have a Twilight Council. I mean, Serral with that quick infestation pit is actually gonna go for Swarm Host. Seems that Firefly's idea is just to make magic happen with a whole bunch of gateway units, 2 Immortals and a Warp Prism. He does have +1 on the Forge, but no Twilight, no +2, we're not transitioning. I mean, if Serral makes one mistake with his first wave of Locusts, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble immediately. A Force Field goes down, drones are falling, a Roach is falling. Guys, Firefly is honestly closer to a victory against Serral than almost any player has been throughout the entire history of WTL Code S. The first few Locusts are flying forward. 4 Locusts are not going to make the difference here. Serral is in a bit of trouble. Both players floating some money, but as a Protoss, you should be able to warp in a whole bunch of units. More force fields go down. Obviously, Serral lost a couple of queens in the early game, so he's got less energy. Few of the Locusts get found as well. Roaches are dying. Serral is forced to pull the drones. Is it actually happening, guys? Can Firefly create a massive upset here and potentially take the 1-0 lead against the great Yona Sotala? Serral is really starting to run a little bit out of steam. He is forced to sacrifice potentially this base, or at least he's trying to kite to the best of his abilities. Great job there by Firefly, avoiding all those corrosive bows. Damn, 1400 minerals, but there is the big warp in round of Stalkers. Serral's got 15 Roaches in production, but obviously they're going to spawn one by one. They're going to come in from different angles. The 3rd hatchery has died, but that 4th hatch is still alive, guys. Corrosive ball connects a little bit. Honestly, I think Firefly has done it. That Warp Prism is sitting pretty in the back. It's safe. He can just go ahead and warp in a few more Protoss units with a little bit of micro as well. Keep these Immortals alive for as long as possible. Serral forced to pull a few more drones down to 45. And I can't believe it, but the man has done it. Firefly is living up to the praise that we were giving him. And he takes the 1-0 lead for the Platinum Heroes. Damn. From the very beginning till the end, the man just played one hell of a game. You gotta give it to him. We all love Yona. Yona is our GOAT, and Yona has an absolutely amazing track record in the WTL Code S. But Firefly is a Protoss that has really stood out throughout the entire last season. I think he was a real revelation. He made a transfer going from SSLT to the Platinum Heroes, and he played an awesome game 1 there. That is a surprising way to kick off our WTL Code S match against the Platinum Heroes. And now I can let you guys in on a little state secret, an intern secret. Is that there was a chance that Reynor was also not available today. And then we obviously had 2 choices. Either use a wildcard or let Roddy play. But because we rate the Platinum Heroes pretty high, we decided that it was not the right time to let Roddy play. And fortunately, Reynor could make it, and we didn't even have to use a wildcard. So Reynor, his games will be live. After watching this, I'm very happy I don't have to play today, because I'd be shaking out of this chair right now if I would have to play and Serral's down 0-1 and Basilisk is down 0-1. So what is ELO points? Is it like EPT? No, it's more like a Dragon Ball Z power level. And that power level, I think, is mostly based upon your performance in WTL Code S and maybe stuff like the Kung Fu Cup and Masters Coliseum. I think it's a combination of those 3 tournaments that determine your ELO. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It makes sense for some people, but it doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, Beyond has a very low rating, even though Beyond is amazing. I think my ELO is 419, which makes me very sad, because they should have given me 1 more point, so I'd be at least 420. Who is this Roddy? I've heard of him many times by now. Is he really good? As a surprise, I've heard. Roddy is not that good. Is Serral still the best player? In my eyes, he is. In the eyes of many fans, he is. Some people will think that somebody else is the best. In the end of the day, that is often just an opinion. I don't know what's up with the Chinese webcams today, guys, but they're not very sharp. But that man played sharp in Game 1. It was Firefly here in the bottom right side for the 2nd time ever, dropping a map in the regular season of the WTL Code S. Even gods can bleed. It is BASILISK Serral. I don't think there is any reason for us to panic just yet. Obviously, we've got an amazing squad from the beginning till the end. Serral, sure, he's the GOAT in the eyes of many. But we've got Reynor, we've got Trigger. So there's no need to picnic. But it would obviously be at least very nice to win this 2nd game. Even Clem with a crazy good start last week couldn't make it work. Yeah, I mean, that was an ace match, which I would say is still slightly different than the regular best of 2. But yeah, and that was obviously altitude as well. I wasn't totally certain about Firefly's plan to win that game without a Twilight Council, but I feel like that was a tiny bit similar to what Jim did a long time ago. Even though I think Jim played it out a bit different, because Jim opened up with Zalot Charge. But Jim once upon a time took a map of Serral in a Kung Fu Cup. And it was kind of the same idea. A couple sentries, couple of immortals, quick warp prism and run to the other side of the map. But I do believe that Jim had Zalot Charge, so I say it's similar, but it's not that similar. I mean, this is such an amazing win for Firefly, because from here on out, every single time when we talk about Serral's great record in the WTL, and even if Serral loses the next 10 games in a row, which of course will never happen, but let's say we live in a hypothetical world where that would happen. Even if Serral goes 0-10, he still has an amazing record in WTL. Well, yeah, Firefly making a little bit of esports history. 2nd player to take a map of Serral in the regular season of WTL Code S. Jim is also Chinese. I'm aware of that, yes. But that was Kung Fu Cup, so not exactly the same. Is it best of 3? No, it's a best of 2. So this will, at the very best, be a draw for us. We can no longer win. It's going to make the rest of this Claymore very exciting, though, guys. Even this 2nd game is very exciting. How could Serral lose a game? Well, Serral is a human, mate. And all humans will eventually lose a game. Firefly just played awesome from the very beginning. The Adept movement was sexy. The Oracle movement was sexy. The 2nd wave of Adepts was very good. The 2nd and 3rd and 4th waves of Oracle movement was very good. Yeah, and then he was very decisive going for it. With a couple of Immortals, a War Prism, and a whole bunch of Gateway units. Who is Firefly? Well, Firefly is Firefly. He is a Chinese Protoss player. In the beginning of last season, I would have said he is one of the many good Chinese Protoss players, but I think all of us that watched the entirety of WTL Code S last year came to the conclusion where it's like, whoa, Firefly is not just one of the many good Protoss players. He is legitimately good. He's exciting. Don't forget that he also took a map of Reynor last season. And he is once more going for a rather spicy build here, guys. We have opened up with a Stargate. It's single Phoenix just to deny the Overlord Scout. And we're going to follow it up with 4 Gate and Resonating Glaive Adept. Hello, Letho. So 1 Phoenix into 4 Gate Resonating Glaive Adept. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly Serral can pick up on this. In a perfect world, obviously Serral drops a Roachwarren right about now. Maybe you can defend with just Queens and Lynx, but that can also go wrong real quick. So Ideally, you would like to have either a Baneling Nest to morph a couple of your Lings into Banes. I personally like the Baneling Nest as a defense, but a lot of the pros will tell you that Roaches are always better, and that Banelings are too hit or miss. Which pro would you say is the closest in skill to Firefly? I mean, I don't think that Firefly, for instance, is worse than, let's say, Skillous. And I think Skillous is amazing. I think you guys know that I'm a massive Skillous fanboy. I just think that Firefly is very good. They may have some different strengths and weaknesses. Like, this is going to hurt, guys. All of the Lings of Serral on the other side of the map. And these Adepts with Glaives are already going to do a pretty decent job in dealing with a couple of the Queens. Now, maybe this could have gone a little bit better for Firefly. He's moved commanding there for a little while. One Phoenix is going to show up. I think in the end, Serral should be fine. Sure, a decent amount of the Lings are falling, but... yeah, no, this is okay. This could have gone worse. It's amazing for Serral that he was able to get on top of those last 3 Adepts in the center of the map. Because imagine if those Adepts would have joined with the initial set of Adepts, then those Queens would have been in serious trouble. Serral doesn't have too much energy on the Queens here, but those drop a Transfuse. Saves 1 Queen. The second Queen will fall. Firefly cancels the Shade. We're video gaming, guys. We're absolutely video gaming on the side of the Platinum Heroes Firefly. That caught Serral off guard. Even though Serral had some Lings in position on potential third bases, he didn't see it until the Adepts were right where they wanted to be. That is a full surround on the Nexus, and Serral's actually gonna go for it. The Firefly lets the Nexus finish up, and that is obviously a big pickup. The doors are open as well, but Serral does not want to go for it. I wouldn't have personally hated to see those Lings run into the natural. That is a massive victory right there for Serral, guys. Firefly had plenty of Adepts, but they were in the wrong spot, and they were not able to keep that Nexus alive. So Serral gets the biggest victory of the game so far. Yep. Split up. Firefly is leaning back. He's very unhappy about the fact that he lost that Nexus. Probably felt that up to that point it was going quite alright, and he's not wrong. Wasn't bad. Now it is actually going kind of bad. We're going to lose that Adept. He's going to lose a couple of probes here too. All the other Adepts are in the middle of the map. The Observer is not showing us any of that, but Serral's finding another Adept, finding 3 probes. And at this point, it kind of feels that Jonah's running away with it, but it's not over yet. There is still a chance that Firefly gets a pretty scary Protoss army. And until Serral has Vipers, or maybe Lurkers, you have to respect the Protoss with double Robo. Yeah, the Adepts are really gonna fall off at this point because the Roach count is a lot higher. We're not living in the world anymore where it was only a couple of Zerglings as the first few Force Fields dual land, but Lings show up on the left. The Lings want to get on top of the battery. Good job there with the sentries keeping the battery alive, but Serral wasn't all that serious about that aggression. Since he's got the hype going. Got 7 more drones on the way. I am thinking back, guys, of that first moment where those Adepts is shaded to the other side of the map. And if only there was a way for Firefly to get those 3 reinforcing Adepts there a little bit quicker. Or just to be on top of their movement a little bit more. Serral could have been in serious trouble, because at that point, all we had on the side of Serral were just Lings and Queens. And that is supposed to be a dream scenario for the Protoss. Now Serral's up on Hive Tech, fires up 4 Vipers at a time. Lings getting roasted. Serral scouts, leans back in his chair, and says, alright, I know what I need to do. Make a few Vipers, suck up some energy, abduct the Colossus, and take it from there. Firefly going for Stargate number 2 and Stargate number 3. I'm not sure what that is all about. He's gonna try to surprise Serral with Mass Phoenix, maybe? Huh? Here's a little special item delivered today, which is a gift for Roddy. Delivered to your own house or delivered to my house? Because I actually missed the delivery. That wasn't my fault. Vicky's fault. Kidding. She just came back. So I know she can hear me. Your house? That's exciting. What do we think about this hidden Phoenix transition, guys? Any believers in the chat? Transitioning into Mass Phoenix against a man with Hydras and Vipers? That's a bold move, Cotton. You hate it. To be fair, I think Firefly would have hated almost anything he could have came up with. Abduct is going to land first. Colossus dies. Immortal dies. Another Immortal dies. And Serral's probably very surprised about some extra Phoenixes showing up right now. But the Phoenix numbers are seriously just not there. Serral's here with an overwhelming amount of Zerg. Battery Overcharge is doing its thing. But Iona will tie things up. But that is still a result that I think the Platinum Heroes can live with. And Firefly can absolutely live with. As we're all tied up, guys, after our first best of 2. Kudos to Firefly. Gotta tip my fedora to him. 1.1 million points on the 2-0 for Serral. 139,000 points on a Firefly 1-1 with Serral. And I have the feeling that a lot of you guys were betting towards the end when the prediction was still open. And it already started to look good for Firefly. Yeah. Big payday. That is a big payday. It was at 3% and it jumped to 11. Yeah. I'm not surprised. So take a look at the cheaters. Summary. Who are those cheaters, guys? 20k, 20k. Benny! YBC! Shameful, guys. Shameful. I know you guys were taking advantage of the very end there. So that is it. That means that we're not going to get ready for a PvP. And obviously an important one. Trigger versus DNS, guys. Le Adrien. 2 excellent Protoss players that are, I think, very even in MMR. I'll give you guys 10 minutes. I think that should be good enough. 139k. It was only 5k when I bet. Yeah, I know. I know we had some cheaters there. They just started the game slightly quicker than I expected them to. Should have gone for the 10-minute prediction, but it's all good. Then again, it's always scary to bet against Serral when he's a big favorite, because you will feel until you literally see the GG sign that he can always bring it back. Roddy, who will win? Makachev versus Oliveira 2? I think Makachev. I feel like at this point nobody should ever bet against these guys who just live in the mountains and train all day. I see Oliveira driving around in Lambos, enjoying the life in Brazil. And then I see another man who just prays and trains 24/7. I go for the dude with the beard, man. You thought it's Trigger versus MaxPax? MaxPax is a part of Sidestorm Gaming. So it'd be very impressive if he would randomly make an appearance for the Platinum Heroes. You disappointed Benny? Me too, guys. I know Benny as a sweet and handsome man. Can't believe he would sneak in a couple channel points like that towards the end. Trigger Manamuled my poor friend Sal the other day. I think Trigger and Sal are very good friends, so that's probably just banter. I think almost everybody is friends with Sal. How can you not like Sal? I feel like if you don't get along with Upper 3, then you're probably just not a very good individual. Oh, there he is. Sal, I know you want to talk about politics, but we don't do that in my channel. We only do that in yours, mate. And there is a lot to talk about right now, guys. Rising gang violence in Sweden. Discuss it tonight at Upper 3's stream. When he's in the middle of a TVT. Go to town on the problems that Sweden is currently facing. We are waiting for our 2 Protoss nerds to get things going. We haven't really been smashing yet, guys. Obviously, last week we had our season opener for the people who are just watching the stream right now and you don't even know exactly what is happening. We are currently watching the biggest online team league in the entire StarCraft 2 scene. We participated in the WTL 2023 summer season. We finished 2nd place overall. Went undefeated in the regular season, but lost in the finals, in the playoffs. Last week we started off with the winter season. Our first play day was against Team Liquid. We won, but it was an absolute nail-biter, and we were down 0-3 and then brought it back. Still 1-4-3. Today is our second play day of the season, and as you guys can see, we're all tied up after 2. Now, last week we lost 3 games in a row before we started winning. Maybe now we just lose 1 and then we win 5 in a row. You want to see Roddy versus Crank in the finals again? We can make that happen. If Onside Gaming wants to make that happen, Roddy will make that happen. Then MMR. Cell's MMR? Has Cell been stealing some MMR with the overpowered Cyclone? Have you been cheating, Cell? Are you building second factories out on the map? You're actually down? Okay. He's playing the long con, guys. Cell making it seem like everything is alright. Soon we blink twice and all of a sudden our pal Cell is 6.1k. And then it has nothing to do with Terran, guys. He just got better. That's something you do, not me. Second factory? Are you calling me a cheeser, Cell? Alright, mate. Next time I meet you on the ladder, I'm gonna make sure that I will drag the game out until I have a mothership and I'll recall a Protoss army into your main base. You asked for this. This is a promise, guys. The next time I play Cell, mothership flies into the main and we're recalling some Colossus carriers and Phoenixes in there, baby. It's gonna be a banger. I'll record it, put it on YouTube. Imagine the shame if I beat you, though. I saw you against Max Packs, mate. If you cannot defeat Max Packs with a 95 army supply lead, I don't think you're beating Roddy anytime soon. I have batteries too. Did you see him versus Hero? No. When did you play Hero, so? Was it the NA Weekly? What happened? Give me a quick TLDR. Sounds like I missed something. Ah, we're both proxied, huh? Who's proxying now? Did you go for a Marauder proxy, or what kind of proxy are you talking? Seems like we are getting closer to starting our second best of 2 of our WTL Code S match between Basilisk and the Platinum Heroes. I still don't know where my captain's thingy went. I have a captain's thing. I am your captain. Le Adrien versus Yoon. It's often pretty early for Trigger when he has to play in WTL, but since now we were the second set of games, that's always a bit better for our Canadian fella. Like it's 10 a.m. That's reasonable, right? Is Trigger rated lower? Well, I had 419, so I don't know what they gave Trigger, but the ELO is a bit of a meme, guys. Don't take it too serious. In the top right side of Solaris, we took a little look at the main base of Le Adrien, DNS, for the Platinum Heroes. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the man who got a bit unlucky last week because he went up against Clem. It is time to set the record straight and get a big W for us, Basilisk Trigger. If I have higher ELO than Trigger, guys, that is absolute nonsense. Maybe I do, but do not think for a second that I am as good as Trigger or close to Trigger. Trigger is a way better StarCraft 2 player than I am. 419 for Roddy, yeah. That is a meme, guys. We are not even close to each other. Obviously, once in a very blue moon, I can win a ladder game right against Trigger. I can catch him off guard. Happened a few times, but make no mistake. Across the board, Trigger is much better than me. Not even like a little bit, but we are not in the same league. They just want to upgrade to Roddy to 420 when he wins one. Imagine the meme, sir. Yeah, it's probably because I beat the Chinese. They gave Shao C 500, by the way. Because I think I saw the ELO ranking for the casters of the WTL in China. They gave him 500. I 2-0'd him. I've got 419. Number one bullshit. Alright guys, an important PvP here. 2-gate versus 2-gate on the high ground. Solaris is the map with all those speed zones. And that's obviously a bit tricky. DNS I think is a hard guy to prepare for in PvP. Because you know that every single high level Protoss on the European server is capable of executing a 3-gate robo on a very high level. Or just straight up 3-gate. Or even go for a 1-base blink stalker all in. But DNS can also play the all out macro game. The man loves late game PvT and kind of likes late game PvP as well. I think he ends up with carriers more often than any other Protoss in the European scene besides Gerald maybe. So, how was Firefly versus Serral? Good games? Well, I mean the fact that Firefly won the first game I think by default makes it a very good and exciting game. And it was from his side. Second game there was some potential as well. In the end it turned into not a super exciting game. DNS let that pylon finish up, by the way, guys, in the natural of Trigger. DNS has gone double Stalker into double Adept into a Twilight Council. Meanwhile, Trigger is opening up 4 Stalkers into a Stargate. I'm confused about letting this pylon finish up. I'm inclined to say that I think that's a mistake. And with a mistake, I mean I believe that was accidental. I think he was supposed to cancel that, but it shouldn't be that hard to cancel a pylon. I don't think it is. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to Nexus block against a 4 Stalker opening. This is not something you do. Like if your opponent open up with 2 Adepts and then you see maybe more Adepts or you see Adept Sentry, then sure. But against 4 Stalkers, you don't really Nexus block. Now there are 2 Adepts on the other side of the map. This Stalker battle is not that important. The Adepts on the other side of the map are important. The Adepts are in the main base, by the way. The Observer is not realizing it. He's just looking at a little Stalker battle. And at least Trigger is pulling the probes very quickly. And that actually turned out pretty decent for us. Nice force field as well. And great crisis management here. Letting the Adepts sneak in is not good. But in the end, only losing 2 probes against the Adepts, that is very good. That Dark Shrine though, guys, is awfully quick. And this is a hard fight for Trigger because it's 4 Stalkers against 3 Stalkers in a Sentry. And then the Stalkers are better. So Trigger is forced to pull the probes. Very nice micro by DNS. And don't forget about that Dark Shrine, guys. Do we have a shield battery here? Yes, we do. If Trigger loses this Oracle at this game ending, he's going to see the Dark Shrine. He drops the Stasis Trap. We're still fighting with Stalkers on the other side of the map as well. There's a lot to take care of right now. I don't know how big that Stasis Trap was. What I do know is that we need detection at home ASAP. He lost the Oracle, didn't he? I think he lost the Oracle. No, he didn't. Wow, that is a 6 Stasis Trap. But DNS has a Dark Shrine that's done. And he could warp in DTs on the other side of the map. But I guess he's got no money. 1 DT. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the drama! Yeah, no, it's okay because the Oracle lived, so Trigger will still have detection. Imagine if that Oracle died and that Stasis Trap doesn't go off, then it's just game over. Now this DT is annoying, but the Oracle is coming. We cannot lose the Oracle, that's obviously very important. Nice revelation from a very, very safe spot. Not a DT shows up immediately, but Revelation is only 25 energy. There is a very tiny cooldown on the Revelation. But I think that cooldown has already kicked in. That DT will die. Yes. Trigger gets both Dark Templars. Barely loses anything. Whew. We've been dodging some bullets there, guys. We've been dodging some bullets there. That was inches away from being a complete disaster and potentially game-ending damage. Now instead, 6 minutes into the game, I kind of like it for Trigger. Whew. This is pretty much GG, right? You mean GG in favor of Trigger? I think it's good, but I think you're getting a bit carried away to say that this is GG. Twitch chat and their obsession with calling everything GG. We're gonna battle. I think Trigger has an advantage, but we need to be careful here though. DNS does have a few more units. Trigger is gonna warp in a few extra Stalkers. Decent trade, I think, for DNS so far. Man. You're looking at this, guys, and you really think that a single shield battery would make our life so much easier. Hello, Mana. That was a meme earlier, Mana. They kept on calling your game over. Everyone was dead. You were dead. Cyan was dead. You were dead. Cyan was dead. Whoa, that's a crazy forward blink. The barrier was activated. DNS just sending it, even though the unit advantage is very minor. But Adrian is playing with a lot of confidence. Obviously, he does, or I say obviously, but he may have ping advantage. In a single battery, Trigger's life would have been so much easier, but we have a new Immortal out. We can obviously warp in a few more Stalkers. Probes are going to try to defend the Stasis Trap, and that works. Great job there by Adrien. But the second Stasis Trap is big as the first one. But DNS has blinked on top of another Immortal, has killed another Immortal. And it's honestly doing a pretty good job. This is still going to get very scary. 2 Stalkers are very low in HP. 1 Stalker dies, the other Stalker staying alive. Trigger pulling all the probes right now. Neil Big Daddy shows up. The barrier gets activated immediately. We need to protect that Immortal, guys. Why is Trigger losing 5 probes? Were they chasing the Stalkers or something? I guess they were. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be scary, guys. He's gonna blink on top of the Immortal again because the barrier, I think, is still on cooldown. Yep, there is that forward blink, and that Immortal will fall, but we do have a shield battery, and with a single shield battery, shouldn't our life be a whole lot easier? Yeah, that Immortal will not die. It's alright. Whew. Not having a battery needed, especially when our blink is so much later than the blink of our opponent, was a little stubborn. DNS is going to try to shade 2 adepts into the main base. What an awesome game so far between these two. 9 minutes, full of action. Once more, a little shout out to the guy who said PvP is boring. Oh, force fields could hurt here, no? Yep, yeah, they kind of hurt. These adepts can also hurt. Earlier, we had fantastic defense against 2 adepts in the main. This time around, well, not bad. Immortal count is going up. DNS has taken a 10 worker lead though. Is he getting a lot of value out of these Blink Stalkers or what? As he's going up to 3 bases too. I mean, now we're 9 minutes in. 10 worker advantage on the side of DNS. But Trigger does have +1. Already working on +2. And in give or take 25 seconds, he will finally have Blink 2. Holy moly, big stasis number 3 has landed in the main base. The first one was game saving, the second one was very good, and this one is even bigger than the second one. Yes, we still have Reynor against ShaDoWn after this as well. And then obviously at 6 PM, we've got another edition of the Basilisk Big Brain Bouts. So it is a Friday full of StarCraft for you guys on the Roddy stream. Isn't that just the way you nerds like it? That Oracle has been the MVP, also saved us against the DTs. Did it die now? I don't see it on the map anymore. Alright, so Trigger is now up 14 army supply and he's queuing up a War Prism. So it was just hiding in the top right. DNS had enough of this Oracle, guys. Oh! 2 out of 3 Stalkers are stuck! No! Come on! Don't die. That Oracle deserves better, guys. No! That Oracle on the map. I think it died. No! Main event is PvT. It is Spirit versus Showtime. Spirit Showtime. Haven't seen that particular matchup too much lately. And I also want to see how Showtime plays. PvT's on the new patch. Trigger finally has Blink, guys, and he's going to try to get some value out of that. Blinks forward. Also finds a couple of leftover adepts. It is 3 bases against 2. That obviously means that this push is very important. That War Prism is very important. That is a weird blink by DNS, but he just wants to get in a good spot for his batteries. Trigger sees those batteries, sees the battery overcharge, and decides to temporarily disengage. But where do we go now? Are we going to send it here, or do we send it into the natural? We obviously need to go, guys. Trigger is up in army, but he's down in base. He's down in workers. He's going to blink on the high ground. Gets the first Immortal rather quickly, and look at his own Immortals. Going to town on the Stalkers of Adrian. It's been an eventful game with a lot of trades back and forth, but in the end it seems that this one will go towards the man that is representing Basilisk. Big win for Trigger, guys, very important one. After Serral dropped a map versus Firefly. DNS wipes in a couple of DTs, and is that a problem? Do we have an observer here? Ooh, thank the Lord that we already killed that Nexus and almost every single Stalker. Okay, I'm a bit worried about these DTs. Right now, it's not too big of a problem yet, but eventually this could become a problem. There is an observer halfway in the center of the map. It is halfway there. And I think once that observer is here, it is going to be good enough. Ooh, I'm so happy that he didn't warp in those DTs a little bit earlier. Because then it could have been gnarly, guys. If DNS was able to enjoy that 3 versus 2 base advantage for a little while longer, it could have made the difference for him. Fortunately for us and for everyone that loves Basilisk, that is not the case. Big dub for Yun as he sends us into a 2-1 lead into our second playday. Or in our second playday, rather. Nice one. You're heading to the sauna. Catch you later, Roddy. I'm jealous, mate. Enjoy your sauna. Almost died because of no battery. I think we almost died 4 times in that game. But who cares how many times we almost died if in the end we win. I like that in the end he just looked at his army and looked at the army of DNS and he said, alright, I'm not going to expand. I'm not going to try to go up to 3 bases here. I've got +2. You've got no upgrades. I've got a couple of immortals. It's time to end it. I think that was a great call. And great killer instinct on the man. That is hailing from Canada. Ontario. And I did know where Ontario was. Phew. His WTL series is very close so far. Yeah, but Platinum Heroes are strong. We know that. That's why we did not send out Roddy. No, obviously, like the Platinum Heroes already made it into the playoffs last year. Any team that makes it into the playoffs is obviously a very serious competitor, and we're gonna have to show up, bring our A game. And then they even got better because they signed Firefly in the offseason, so yeah, they were good, and then they got even better. Yeah, Iogu, I think if Trigger wins 2-0 today, then at least his ELO is going to go up. It actually, guys, it is nice for a man like Trigger to have a very low ELO rating. Because this season in the WTL, they're actually giving out a whole bunch of bonuses as well. Or awards as they call them. So you can win some money by having a celebration. I am still waiting for my 276 bucks. Apparently, I won an award for celebrating against Crank and celebrating against Chelsea. So I won 2 awards last year. Let's go. The highlight of my pro gaming career, guys. But I also think that, for instance, Trigger can massively increase his ELO over the season because he's very good. And I think he's going to win a lot of games. So maybe he will win a couple buckies. So perhaps it's better to start low and just have the never-ending upswing. DNS is winning this one. Could be. Could be, but I am full of confidence in our man. I think Trigger is gonna get a 2-0. And I do rate Le Adrien very highly. I think today belongs to Trigger. I'm feeling it. When is Max Pax's team playing? Let's take a look. Nice. I mean, if you guys do !B, you can get a link to the entire regular season of WTL. Then you guys can just take a look at the upcoming matches. Max Pax's team is playing tomorrow around 4 p.m. CEST, so 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 7 a.m. on the West Coast. And Max Pax will play against Wayne. They will play every single playday, and Max Pax pretty much always plays. Alright. Round 4 of the Platinum Heroes versus Basilisk. In the bottom right side, Platinum Heroes DNS. Top left side, we're looking at the main base of our sexy, handsome Canadian Protoss player, Trigger. Last season, I think Trigger's MVP performance was against the Shopify Rebellion, where we were in a little bit of trouble. But Trigger stepped up in a very big way, and he got a 2-0 over Beyond. That is also the only time ever that Serral lost a map besides today. Serral went 1-1 against Scarlet back then, and I think Reynor went 1-1 as well. Right? Who did Reynor go 1-1 against, guys? No, Reynor won against... Oh, yeah, no, Reynor won in the end, but we were already up 3-1 at that point. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, but Reynor did go 1-0, and then it was over. Yeah, okay. So Reynor went 1-1, but he was up 1-0. Against everyone. It seems that great minds think alike. Both of them send their probe towards the top right side of Oceanborn. It's always going to be a little bit awkward, right, when you meet a probe 2 minutes into the game. In a corner of the map where there definitely isn't a main base. DNS's pylon did not get spotted though by the scouting probe of Trigger. But at least Trigger knew that that probe was there, and that probe is not supposed to be there, so... Adapts into Stargate. Is our opener. Meanwhile, DNS is just opening up with a couple of Stalkers. Gonna fire up Stalker number 3 and 4 as well. Like, for instance, this game, I think the pylon block, if DNS decides to let that pylon finish up, I think that makes a lot more sense than it did in the previous game. Because Adepts are not very good in killing buildings, as you guys can see. Stargate versus Stargate. I'm not sure where this is gonna go. DNS might even think about going for a cybernetics core block, and he does warp in the cybercore. Trigger actually tilted his head there for a split second. He was not happy to see the cybercore go down. I also really wonder, guys, what DNS is going to build out of his Stargate. It should just be an Oracle, but if he now scouts, and I think DNS will scout, that Trigger opened up with a Stargate and has an Oracle, I think it would make sense for DNS to build a shield battery in his main base and build a Phoenix. Or maybe you don't need a shield battery, because you have 4 Stalkers. I actually think you can just go Phoenix here, no? DNS does go Phoenix. Ugh, this is gonna be rough. He does have a battery, but I technically think with triple Stalker, Sentry, and the Scout, and the fact that you've got a Phoenix coming out, yeah, I don't think that shield battery was really needed. Who sponsors this leak? All these guys right here on the map. You can read all the sponsors. Oracle gets revealed in the main base, and Trigger is forced to recall it immediately. Obviously not a good start here, guys, for a man who is up 4 workers, and he does still have pretty quick blink. So it's not the end of the world, but it's hard to get very excited when you've opened up Stargate, Adepts, Oracle, and you've killed 0 probes. These Stalkers will get caught, and we can't recall them, guys, so that means -2 Stalkers as well. Obviously, the Phoenixes can also force them to stay in one place. The recall was already used on the Oracle. It might have actually been better to lose the Oracle and save the Stalkers, but that is hindsight. Phoenixes are sharking the map looking for that Oracle of Trigger. Still a 4 worker lead though, and in the end, if it just goes into Blink versus Blink, and both of them are currently researching that, then I don't really mind the opening all that much. I feel like we're in a much better spot than what we were supposed to be in. And I'm not totally certain how that happened. I guess maybe DNS just didn't build as many probes as he could have. Respected the Adepts, respected the Oracle, warped in a shield battery that he didn't really need. Building 2 Phoenix is obviously somewhat expensive. I mean, Trigger had more probes, but he had more probes on one base for a while because his Nexus was way later, right? Because Pylon block into Cybernetics core block. So I'm pretty surprised to see that he's still up 3 workers. Might even get a Phoenix here. Ooh, close. Going up to 3 bases quicker. I really don't hate it, guys. DNS does have a few Stalkers more, I believe. I think that's the only real advantage that DNS has. But we're not really looking at the amount of Stalkers more that I am worried about him running to the other side of the map and taking a great fight. If anything, it's actually... I don't like that Trigger is going to the other side of the map, because DNS can then obviously force a good fight at home, and he can get some value out of these Phoenixes that can disable 2 of the Stalkers here. I don't really like being there, guys, because... the Phoenixes could still come into play here, and then you end up losing a few units very quickly. Supply block for DNS after Trigger got the pylon. Could be. I didn't see it, but that would make sense. Because DNS was not supposed to be down as many workers as he actually was. This often happens to me as well when I pylon block either a Protoss in PvP or a Zerg. You're like, oh, okay, I'm fine. And then you know that pylon is going to die. But then when it finally dies, you're like, oh my god, now I'm supply blocked. And then you can't build any probes for 15 seconds. And you get very sad. Sentry gets warped in for Trigger as he's once more working on +1. Previous game, Trigger ended up with +2, guys, while DNS had no upgrades. DNS enjoys a quick robo. Has, I think, an Immortal out working on a Observe, but he's going to fire up his own upgrades this time around, and that just makes sense. We saw a great PvP earlier between Mana and Cyan on Oceanborn. We could very well go into a similar direction this time around. This map is pretty large, and it's just really hard to end games in the mirror when you're working with the same units. Defender's advantage is massive, and overcharge can make all the difference. Even regular batteries can really make all the difference. So, often it comes down to when do we go up to 4 bases? Is there then a potentially a timing we can hit? If we stay on 3, they go up to 4. Or if one player goes double Robo with the Robo Bay and the other one goes Zealot, Stalker, Archon, then you often see some fights. But if we keep doing the exact same thing, it's really hard to be the aggressor and make something happen. Cancelled a pylon or a battery there, whatever it was. 26 Stalkers on the side of Trigger. Very nice, by the way, that Oracle is still alive, because now you can just drop stasis traps everywhere. Didn't stasis traps get like a tiny buff? They got a buff in vision, but a nerf in duration, right, in this patch? Is that correct? I feel like I've read a lot of different things, but I seem to recall something along those lines. They see more, but they last a little less long. Just a buff in vision? That's pretty big because those things stick around forever, man. It's basically like having an observer. Maybe I should start opening up Oracle. And then I won't actually use my Oracle to ever kill something. I'm just gonna use it to fly around and drop stasis traps. Could be a plan. Trigger hasn't built any probes for a while, but I guess because he was just on 3 bases and he's got the amount of gases that he wanted to have, he probably felt that he didn't really need extra workers. If we are going to go up to 4 bases, it is nice to build probes a little bit quicker, so then by the time that 4th Nexus finishes up, you can fully saturate it immediately. DNS has a Warp Prism in the top right, warping in a couple of DTs. I don't think we have Shadow Stride, I haven't seen that at least. But the even DTs without Shadow Stride can be very annoying. Robo Bay and second Robo goes down on the side of DNS2 now, though. I think Trigger is still on single Robo, though. I wonder if we're gonna see some more Colossus, right? Because the Disruptor got nerfed a tiny bit. Is there a world where we get to see like in a couple of the PvPs that I played, I already went up against Colossus more often than I did in the past. I think that Disruptors will still be good against Colossus, but I do think there is a good chance we'll see the big giraffes make a slightly more common appearance in PvP. Low Zealot's getting warped in. Keep an eye on the minimap, by the way, guys. That army of DNS is here too. A little Rico has been used. Will DNS feel that he can send it? I don't think you can. Cannon battery dash is too powerful. And Trigger left so many units behind. This is not a fight that I think DNS can really take, but he's still finding some damage with his Zealots and his Dark Templars, so not too bad. Now we're going to research Blink on the DTs. Obviously a very big game for DNS here and the Platinum Heroes. Next up is Reynor versus ShaDoWn. These clan wars are best of 7s. If Trigger wins this game, Reynor just needs to win a single game to bring it home. A lot of probes are dying on the side of Trigger. I think this fight is going okay, but I'd love to see battery overcharge being used and just go back a little bit further. Man, DNS did a lot of damage there, guys, with Zealots and DTs. The Observer didn't show it, but 17 probes is a decent amount. I'm sure that he also warped in a lot of units, so I don't think it was for free, but... The good news, though, is that even if Trigger loses 17 probes, we're still looking at a 4-base Protoss. He's on 62 probes, so it's not as dramatic as a Protoss that is on 30 workers and loses 12 probes, because at that point it's just kind of game over. This hurts. It's going to slow you down a little bit, but obviously there is still everything to play for. Should do a drinking game every time Roddy takes a shot at the Observer. I wonder if they have multiple Observers, though, because I feel that some days the Observing is pretty solid. And some days it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So maybe they've got multiple guys who are in charge of observing. Or the dude just loves to party and 1 out of 2 days he's hangover AF. It's one of the two. That Oracle from the early game does finally get picked off. Bit of a shame because I still like Oracles. Vision is everything in late game PvP, and dropping a Revelation on a Protoss army is very nice. A lot of DTs and Zealots are about to run into the Natural Observer. Oh, Disrupt is coming in from the right. I'd love to see the Natural Trigger for a split second, because there are a lot of DTs there, guys. Oh. DNS doing a very good job with them DTs. And we see that Trigger is working on Observer speed, but he doesn't have it quite yet. So we have a couple of Novas flying around, and a lot of Protoss units will die. As long as we have a cannon and a battery there, I feel that we should be fine. But it does seem that Trigger lost the vast majority of his Disruptors. This player says DNS won. No. This game is not quite over yet, mate. Everybody has an obsession with calling games over. I think it's looking alright for DNS, but I still think there is plenty to be very hopeful of on the side of Trigger too. As he blinks forward, snipes a couple of the Disruptors. -3 Disruptors against -2. I think it's mostly the multitasking that has really impressed me by DNS. Thank you so much, Barelius Boy, by the way, for the Lewis Hamilton resub. I know that slowly is getting closer to her Lewis Hamilton resub. I need a sound bit for it, guys. Who has a great Lewis sound bit for me? Dennis? No. His name is not Dennis, mate. His name is Adrian. Blinking forward. A little bit risky to make a forward blink right there on the other side of the map, but he's going to get away with it. His own Disruptors are sitting pretty in the back. Trigger's got a lot of army supply. 120. DNS warps in 7 more DTs, I believe, on the right side of the map. Obviously, those DTs have the ability to blink now. I think Trigger's doing a very good job in just stabilizing. Having a big army, but he needs to be careful. Like, little bit. Snipe it! Oh my goodness, that was way too close for comfort. He's gonna blink forward now, gets a couple of the Disruptors, but 1 or 2 of the Novas do connect, and once more Trigger loses all of his Disruptors without really getting a shot off, and the DTs have revealed themselves on the top side of the map. Ah, that final Nova, guys, that blew up the Disruptors of Trigger once more. It's a bit of a shame. Where are our Observers? We've got no Observers. Ay. We have 0 ops, and there are a whole bunch of DTs still active on the top side of the map. We have Observer speed, but we have no Observers, and he's not building any Observers. He's building Disruptors and no ops. Ay. No, I think actually now we are reaching the beginning of the end. He's building not a Disruptor. Okay, now we've got an Observer in the way. Perhaps there is still a tiny chance where we can just max out on 3 bases. And then either very slowly take a 4th base, or just stay in 3 bases and we try to end it. But obviously we don't just have to win a fight. We have to win the fight convincingly, and then win another fight, and then clean up the final few warpings. Which means that Trigger basically needs to land the biggest Novas possible, and he's not going to land any Novas because it is Le DNS who snipes all of his Disruptors again. I mean, we're just going to give kudos here, guys, to the man that's representing the Platinum Heroes. He has simply done a better job in the Disruptor War. And obviously did a great job in finding openings with his War Prism, with the Zealots, with the DTs. I think Trigger did a good job for a little while, but eventually DNS found the damage he was looking for. Landed a big Novas, keeps on blinking forward, sniping those Disruptors that are trailing the army of Trigger too. And with 180 supply and 5 or 6 bases on the side of the Frenchman, it seems that we're going to be all tied up once more. Trigger went from 0 ups to all the ups. The only problem is that now we are out of units. Maybe one big Nova, at least for the show. Nope. Even that one is going to get picked off. The final one is going to get picked off as well. And I think this game is now officially over. It belongs to DNS. Platinum Heroes ties things up for the second time. And DNS doesn't look very happy. Probably felt that he thought he should win the series 2-0. I don't know. I think that's pushing it a little bit. I think a draw makes a lot of sense between these two. They're both very good. I think they're pretty evenly matched. Sometimes Trigger can win. Sometimes DNS can win. But maybe he felt with Firefly taking a map of Serral that if there was ever a moment for a big 2-0, that this was that moment. I can sort of understand that from his point of view. That was very even. 39-22, 39 in the end. It is Trigger with the 1-1 versus DNS. Blood Heroes and Basilisk, very even so far. That means it all comes down to our final best of 2, guys. ShaDoWn versus Reynor, best of 2. ShaDoWn 2-0, Reynor 2-0, or a draw. If it goes for it, if it once more ends 1-1, that means that we will go to an ace match. I will give you guys 10 minutes to get your predictions in. Shout out to RotterdaM for the 3 months. Let's go, amigo. Neil Drake album is out today. I saw some memes about it. I saw people set an alarm clock at 6 a.m. to listen to it. ShaDoWn almost beat Fjond in a ladder game last night, I believe. Hey, ShaDoWn is great, mate. I lost all of my points. What do I do with myself now? You tier 3 sub, because that's where you gain points real quick. And before you know it, mate, you have beers with Roddy. Roddy pays for the beers as well. Honestly, it's a great investment. You probably make money. If you drink a lot of beer, and you have a lot of channel points, you can probably make money out of it. I'll take a very tiny break, guys. After that, I'll be back. ShaDoWn versus Reynor coming up. We are getting ready to hop into our final best of 2. If it goes 1-1, we will go to an ace match. Wait a second, Roddy. What was it you said I have to do to make you pay for my beer? The tier 3 subs, mate. You got a lot of channel points. You redeem beers with Roddy. Roddy comes out, have a couple beers. Reynor, okay, no cam. Reynor is currently in Italy, guys. So maybe that's why he's got no camera. Maybe there is no working camera in the household. Reynor is 50-50. Who's behind ShaDoWn? Just one, mate. You get channel points very quickly. You have my stream open for a while. If you're a tier 3 sub, you've got millions of channel points in no time. But I will not pay for your travel to RotterdaM. I hope you know that. You're gonna have to carry your own ass to RotterdaM. Thanks to M Subject, mate, for the 2 gifted subs. To see Medicine 1 in there and a random suite. Let's go. Alright, guys, final best of 2. It's been a very close Glenmore so far. On the bottom left side, we are looking at another Frenchman. Why are all these French brothers players so beautiful, by the way? That was ShaDoWn. In the top right side, we are looking at the main base of the Italian stallion. Representing Basilisk, it is Reynor. City or Arsenal, who you got? I'm a big Arsenal fan, so I'm hoping. Is Saka alright? Because I know that Saka left the game on Tuesday injured. Honestly, City doesn't seem to be that hot at the moment, so maybe if Saka can play, I think Arsenal has a good shot. In the past I wasn't feeling it for them, but this season I'm kind of feeling it for them. But they do need Saka, because Saka is amazing, and if they don't have him, then it's gonna be hard. LC1 is going to be our opening map. I have played a couple games on this map. This is also the map that we saw Elisa take that gold base on against Silky earlier today. Don't forget, guys, that we are 1 hour away from another edition of the Basilisk Big Brain Bouts. It's a weekly StarCraft 2 event I organize. I invite 8 nerds to duke it out for 500 buckies. We've got 4 fun best of 5s ahead of us. Couple new players, couple familiar names. Should be good. Your team lost to Libertadores semifinals. Verdao, mates. I saw. I wanted to watch the game, but I had to wake up at 8 a.m. to support Vicky on her journey to Belgium, so I couldn't watch. But I saw Verdau lost on penalties, or you guys lost on away goals. Do you guys still use it? I saw it ended 1-1. Pretty sick for Boca, though. I do always like Boca Juniors. I think they're a pretty amazing team. Is that a proper wall? I have the feeling he's going to need one more building above his cybercore. But I am not exactly the walling expert, especially not on a new map pool with 9 maps. So I have to take another look at it. Do you ever let diamond players in the BBB? Only if we can find a trusted streamer, community member, caster that is around that level. Then I will find a Diamond League opponent, but I will not just invite 2 Diamond League players. We have different events for that. Oh, you meant... okay, that was 2 days ago. No, wait, I thought International won. You guys lost to Fluminense? I thought International won. What do we think of Memphis Depay's rap songs? No cap, DNS. Dutch people will cringe at me for saying this. But I don't know if you know his song No Love. It's kind of old. It's been around for a couple of years. But I really like No Love. I think No Love is actually a very nice song. But if I would let any of my Dutch friends listen to it, they'll be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why the hell are you listening to this garbage? Blah, 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 blah. But I actually think that's good. You like Leave as a Prof? I don't know if I know that one. But you should check out No Love if you're not familiar with that one. That's, I think, legit good. For a football player making music, very solid. Oracle into Twilight Council on the side of ShaDoWn. I think we're all very familiar with this. Not too much adventurous adept movement so far. The 3 extra gates, though, are pretty early, so that's absolutely worth keeping an eye on. I would love to take a look at the Oracle guys on the other side of the map, but... Alright, there we go. That is very good queen positioning by Reynor. Oh, yeah, you guys. 1 hit short from killing that Oracle. But that's obviously still lovely. As a Zerg player, if you can deal that amount of damage to an Oracle without losing any drones. I mean, it's good to see that Reynor is sharp here. The circling speed is very late. Reynor had an interesting way of going about things here. I don't know how good our scouting has been. But I do feel that the alarm bell should go off a little bit for Reynor. Because what has Reynor seen so far? 1 Adept and 1 Oracle. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What else is out there? It's an ultra quick Hydra then. I would like to see Reynor stop droning though, right about now, guys. If Reynor doesn't stop droning real soon, we could actually be in a bit of trouble. Because ShaDoWn is going to shade a whole bunch of Adepts with Glaives to the other side of the map. And Hydras can be good against Adepts, but only in big numbers. If you have like 2 or 3 Hydras, that's not good enough. Reynor is building 12 links now, and I hope that's going to be fine. Started up Hydra's speed for a split second, and then changed his mind and went for the ranged upgrade. Double Oracle has found absolutely nothing so far. And ShaDoWn is just gonna send 1,000,000 Adepts to the other side of the map by the looks of it. I really wonder how many Adepts he has at the moment. 36 army supply, I see 2 Oracles. Are we looking at like 15 Adepts? Reynor has no vision at all, guys. There are 15 Adepts is shading to the other side of... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Reynor's going to drop a Bailing Nest right now. He's got 7 Hydras on the way, but I really don't know if that's going to be enough. 3 or 4 Queens is also not going to be enough. Reynor could be in a little bit of trouble here. ShaDoWn is going to let the Shade finish up. I think these Links will melt, the Queens will melt, and a lot of drones are going to die. That is inevitable. The only question is how many. First Oracle at least dies rather quickly. That's nice. I think ShaDoWn should leave some Adepts behind, and he does that. Shades the remaining Adepts into the main. There are Adepts running into the third base too. Reynor is in trouble. Reynor is in serious trouble here. He's going to lose probably close to 20 drones by the time that all of these Adepts have been cleaned up. If all of these Adepts will even be cleaned up. Since we have been splitting them up on the side of ShaDoWn, I do think the Adepts will die. It's only 13 drones so far. That's really not even as bad as I thought it was going to be. Seems that 4 more died there. 17 in total. The follow-up is double Robo in the Robo Bay. And Reynor is going to go back into droning. You know, I don't often say well done when somebody loses 17 drones. But I really thought that could have gone a whole lot worse. I know people think that I'm crazy Reynor biased or I'm just singing his praise for no reason, but the fact that we only lost 17 drones there is actually good. Now that doesn't mean that I think he's winning the game, because obviously we're building Hydra Ling into double Robo with the Robo Bay and we're going to go into Colossus. But the fact that Reynor didn't straight up die there is a victory, and the fact that he didn't lose like 30 drones is also a victory. Can't go any worse if the Hydra Den has been placed. Not sure what Yona means. I guess we're talking about Hydras not being a good option. I think that could have gone a whole lot worse. ShaDoWn does have a lot of money in the bank, guys, and he's obviously going to spend that money on units that are going to be very good against everything that Reynor can make. It feels that Reynor cannot be aggressive with Hydra Ling Bane of a crappy economy. He may try to do that. I mean, I don't know what Reynor is supposed to do here. Obviously, cannot just drop an infestation pit and go up to Hive quickly. Sitting back will feel like a death sentence, but I think attacking is straight up suicide, so kinda... he's gonna attack. He is going to attack. I don't really believe in it. ShaDoWn is struggling a little bit in building pylons. I guess that's the good news. I mean, because ShaDoWn's macro has been struggling a little and he's floating slightly more money than he should be floating, there is a tiny chance here. If ShaDoWn just had some extra units out and a couple of cannons and batteries, I would give this 0% chance. I don't think this should ever work for Reynor, but Reynor is gonna try. And I think at this point we rely on our opponent making a big mistake, but so far there are no mistakes on the side of ShaDoWn. The stasis traps are good. Battery overcharge may be a little bit early, but obviously he can just drop more force fields. There's a warp prism, I think, in the main base, warping in a couple of units, killing drones, but the observer doesn't want to look at it. Just wants to look at Hydras, Lings, and Banelings crashing into 4 Colossus, but I think 4 Colossus is simply a few too many. 1 Colossus does die, the second one dies, the third one is actually in a really bad spot. Sweet baby, Jesus guys, is the mean killing machine stealing the game with 4 Banelings running into the natural. I can't believe it. In no universe was Reynor supposed to win this game with Hydra Lings and Banelings, but it seems that ShaDoWn has really fumbled the football. GG gets called. Wow. The mean killing machine does it again. Oh, that was a mega throw, guys, by ShaDoWn. I'm not gonna lie. That is a mega throw, but we'll take it. Wow. Hydra, good unit now. I'd love to meme about the Hydra, and I'd love to tell you guys how damn good the Hydra is, but that was not the Hydra. That was ShaDoWn massively fumbling. You want an interview about that win? Yeah, obviously we always do interviews with the squad, so I hope we can do one today. I don't know if Reynor's camera is going to work for that or not, but hopefully we can do a little interview and we can ask him about that. Damn. There are 2 things I can't believe about that game. First, I cannot believe that Reynor was still in a playable spot after all the adepts. Now, every high-level Zerg player would tell me that he was not in a playable spot, that he was mega dead, but we're just gonna assume that it was somewhat playable because he was still in the game. But then the second thing is that I cannot believe he actually won there, running up the ramps into 4 Colossus and sentries. I mean, if anybody whines about balance there, you're just literally ignoring everything you've watched. That has nothing to do with balance, and that has everything to do with ShaDoWn just messing up massively. We saw him floating 1k right before the attack. He could have done a lot of things better there. That initial overcharge was obviously a little bit too early, right? Reynor was nowhere near in range of his units. I don't even think you really need to be max packs to not lose that game. I'm convinced that if he let ShaDoWn play that exact same game again, right before the first time Reynor walks up the ramp, that ShaDoWn will also win. The second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time. It's just this time around he messed up. And if you love Basilisk and you love Reynor, we can all be very happy about that. In the bottom right side of Golden Aura, we are looking at the main base of the man who has put us on match point. Basilisk Reynor. Top left side, we are looking at the main base of the Frenchman who will be kicking himself for losing that first game. Did a lot of things right, but in the end fumbled the defense. Platinum Heroes is ShaDoWn. No amount of balance can save bad play. Yeah, obviously we don't want to put it like that harshly, right? Like to say, oh, it's a bad play, but ShaDoWn will be the very first guy to tell you that he messed up there. And that has nothing to do with balance. And that has just everything to do with him making a couple of big errors. Floating too much money, mispositioning his units, activating the overcharge on the wrong moment, and overall just exposing the Colossus way too much. He could have done better for sure, but massively throwing. No, that was a big throw, Galaus. Trust me. That was a very, very big throw. And ShaDoWn will be the first to tell you that that's a throw. And every other Zerg would have told you that Reynor was Omega dead after the Adepts killed 17 drones and Reynor was a 3-base Zergy. That really was a throw. I don't use the term throw too often, but that was a throw. But that's also the beauty of StarCraft, guys, that even at a very high level, even in the WTL Code S, we see these guys be human, and we see certain fights go and play out in ways that they're absolutely not supposed to play out. Why are we so supply blocked here, by the way, guys? That's kind of weird, no? 23 out of 23. It just feels that our second pylon is very late. Could the Roddy have won the game in ShaDoWn shoes? I actually think that Lethal would have probably defended that attack from Reynor. And we all know that Lethal does not really know how to do a whole lot of things correctly in StarCraft 2. So yeah. Why were we supply blocked there, guys, in the beginning? Also a little bit weird. Maybe still a bit shaken up about everything that happened there in game 1. ShaDoWn going for a proxy Stargate. There are upsides to proxy Stargate and there are downsides. The upside is that your first Oracle is going to show up a whole lot quicker into the main base. And those few seconds is often the difference between a Spore Crawler being done or not. The downside of this opening is quite often you deal some damage, but then obviously the Zerg will immediately find that Stargate afterwards, will unpower the Stargate, and then later on a Spire could be an excellent tech choice because the Stargate is no longer there, or at least it's no longer powered. Oracle flies in, activates Pulsar Beam, and it seems that ShaDoWn is just going to suicide his first Oracle for 5 drones. You know, I would be okay with suiciding an Oracle and killing 5 drones if the Oracle came from our main. But this is exactly what I meant. Reynor wasn't born last night. He knows the timings of Oracles. And if that Oracle shows up a little bit earlier, he immediately knows that it's proxied. And now obviously it's just a matter of time before this target gets unpowered. And then I don't know if I really love the trade for losing an Oracle and killing 5 drones. I mean, Galaus, mate, come on. You've been watching my stream for like 7-8 years. Of course I love Reynor. Everybody knows I love Reynor. And I love Basilisk because I'm a part of the orc. But I will still call these games in a pretty neutral... Well, I'm cheering, but I will still be very neutral in my analysis. I'm not going to be biased in my analysis because that doesn't make any sense. That would just make me a bad commentator or a bad host. If it's a throw, like if it was the other way around, if Reynor was the Basilisk member there and ShaDoWn was, yeah, you guys know what I mean. I would have said the exact same thing. That has nothing to do with my love for Reynor or my bias towards Basilisk. ShaDoWn was supposed to win that game. But it didn't. As I said, that is also the beauty of StarCraft. We've got 6 adepts shading into this hatchery at 6 o'clock. There are a lot of cool spots for adepts, by the way, on some of these new maps. What are these queens going at? They're going for an Oracle. Adepts now shading into the natural, getting 5 drones so far. Not hating what I see out of here from ShaDoWn. Gets out of there with 3 adepts. Did any Oracles die, guys? Because I feel that Reynor was clearly going for an Oracle. 8 drones. 8 drones have now died. It'd be very nice if I could see where. Okay, there are 2 Oracles still idling behind the main and natural. Yeah, because of the oracles. I will be biased in my preference, but I'm not biased in my analysis. That would make no sense. Then I would just be doing a bad job, and I don't want to do a bad job. I think you guys know that by now. We have Overlord Speed on the way on the side of Reynor. He's making a lot of roaches of 56 drones, and it gives me the feeling that we're going to see a classic, and that classic is the German Uber. Overlord Speed is going to finish up. A couple of Overlords morph into Drop Lords, and we're just going to build Lynx, Roaches, Ravages, and ship everything to the other side of the map. This is obviously a high risk, high reward kind of strategy, but maybe Reynor just feels that ShaDoWn has thrown away a lot of units. Killing an Oracle here would be big. This is technically a very big scout for ShaDoWn. I think that revelation gave him a lot of info. If I was in ShaDoWn's shoes right now, I would build nothing but cannons, batteries, and units. Ooh, Reynor gets a run by. This is very annoying, because this means that ShaDoWn cannot get as ready for that incoming attack as he would love to get ready. He's also going to lose a lot of probes early on. If Reynor wins this game, this clan war is over. And with 18 probes falling that quickly and the army supply being 78 against 24, I think it is safe to say that this one is all over. This would have been very hard to stop regardless. But with that Zergling run by, I think it became an impossible hold. We've got no cannons, we've got no batteries. But what we do have is a Reynor victory. So much with that 50% man, eh guys? When we need him the most, he shows up. He gets the 2-0 on the board. And Basilisk improves to 2-0 in the regular season of WTL Code S. A 4-2 victory over the Platinum Heroes. Kudos to those guys. Obviously, I love the Platinum Heroes. I have a lot of friends on the team. I'm a little bit sad that Goblin wasn't playing, but they send out a lot of lovely Protoss nerds, and you know, they've got an amazing lineup. That will do it, guys, for WTL Code S today. Liquid gets a 4-2 victory over SSLT in, I say, a somewhat one-sided manner. Basilisk gets a 4-2 victory over the Platinum Heroes, but this was not a one-sided clan war. I think we had to dig pretty deep for that victory, but I'm very happy that we got it in the end. So that means that we are 2-0. What are they? Are they 0-2 or 1-1? Take a look quickly. Normally what I always do now, guys, is do a little call with the boys. That is a bit of a tradition. After every single clan war, we try to do an interview. And just to hear some thoughts of the players that just played. The Platinum Heroes are 0-2. They did get 1 point last week for going to an ace match versus SLT. Yeah, if I remember. And not the hardest start, guys. Last season they made it into the playoffs. And technically... Ooh, that's loud. And technically they're even better this season because they got Firefly. But not the dream start for the Plat Heroes, but obviously still many playdays to come and there's a whole lot to fight for. So I'm going to go ahead and settle that prediction. 82% of you guys believed in our Italian boy. Gets the 2-0, gets the job done with the mean killing machine. And now I'm going to just contact the boys real quick.